Welcome back, everyone. This is Viscount Gregor Hawke, and this is my 100 shots a day for 100 days Pell challenge. This is my day 15. This episode is for Cody. He requested some basic sword shots. So what we'll do is we'll just start from the ground up first. We're going to start with hip mechanics. So what you do when you're lining up on your pail, Cody, is you don't want to practice anything that's just straight in front of it. You're either going to be practicing something like this, where you're approaching your honorable opponent, and you either decide to go here, or you either decide to go this way. So in the very beginning, just take footwork out completely, but practice from these angles to your pail when we start doing these things. Stuff like this, okay? What you do is you give yourself a better angle to land shots on your opponents. So the very most important thing, and I'm not going to worry about shields quite yet, is your hip mechanics. Once you, as a beginner fighter, you don't want to ingrain any bad habits. And the biggest bad habit that most new fighters ingrain is all arms. They try to be fast, they're all arms. You know, you can just kind of, holy crap, I'm doing so awesome. None of that stuff is any good. There's no power behind it. So you need to never do arms. So when we're talking about shot mechanics, and I'll show you 3 different guards. This is the one I'm using currently, is going to be on the shoulder. And I'm really practicing my hip mechanics. Shot comes in at about 3/4 to the end. And just kind of comes off the shoulder. The cool thing about this style right here is from this position, you can throw anything you want to. You just kind of start the shot right as the basket hilt points at your opponent. You can even do offsides. So something like this, ooh, that was hokey, I was a little bit too far back. But that type of guard, you can do anything. Your opponent really doesn't realize what you're doing until the shot is coming in. This is my old style, and I see it a lot. We'll go ahead and pick this up now. We'll talk about heaters in just a second. But if you're ever interested in fighting with a center grip, what you remember is you hold it, your elbow touches your body, and just imagine that there is a belt wrapping around your body and that elbow stays there. This elbow doesn't move, okay? And what you do to block is it's all hip rotations. Everything's hip rotations. And I noticed that a lot of fighters that fight center boss style, they're going to use the next type of guard I'm going to show you as a starting guard. And it's this one right here. Shield stays stationary, all hip blocks. If you need to block the legs, you just do a slight crouch. But shield is always stays anchored. Never get into this type of stuff. It's bad. It'll get you killed. So keep it there. And this is the guard that I see a lot with people that fight with a center grip. It's generally this right here. They present the flat of the blade. And some of them do this, don't do this. This is iron chicken. That's going to get you plowed in the arm. So what you do is you just tuck your arm a little bit behind your shield. So you're like this. Now shot mechanics wise, you're still going to want to practice this from both feet positions. But it's an attack, which you can practice bringing back into a defense. Or it's an attack, and shield or sword just comes right back into the ready from here. And it's very fast when you do it with speed, extremely fast. All right? The biggest thing you want to take into consideration is always hips first, then sword. Never arm and then hips. And you generally try to always contact your honorable opponent wherever you're trying to strike the moment that your hips close at the very end. So if you want to try a heater shield, is another possibility. You want to make it, and this one is far too short for me, but you want to make it about shoulder to shoulder, not any wider, because then you're starting to fight your shield. And then do about chin to crotch. So this is a little bit short. That's why I get hit in the belly a bit. Plus I'm a big dude right now. So proper shield size, if it's right for you, you won't fight your own shield. Your shield won't be such an asset, like your enemy can actually use it against you if it's too big. And it just gets in the way of your sword blows. But what you do is you present it out with a slight crotch. And this is why I'll be like this. Shield corner up. Because you can catch anything. You're basically catching it before it gets to you. Just slight punches and back into the ready. Hip mechanics is going to be the exact same. Whether you fight from the shoulder, whether you fight from here, or whether you fight like this. This is another real popular one with center grip shields. And this is also a position I find myself in as well. My honorable opponent is firing a blow and I'm tracking it in for a sword block. The next thing they know, they turn their hand over and now they're going for the armpit. And I just drop it down like this and catch it. So I find myself into this position too. It's really funny. You just catch it and rifle off a shot. Once you are able, as a new fighter, to be able to throw whatever position you want to hold your sword in, you know, whatever one you choose. Once you can land all the shots with good hip technique, everything, once you can start feeling it, you land everything backwards and forwards. At that moment, why not just go ahead and add a little bit of movement? That's when you start worrying about adding another layer. Once the hips are working good, you're able to do it nice and slow. Then just go ahead and practice those moments where you're going to be, when you cross measure, you're either deciding to go this way or this way. So start kind of practicing situations that you find yourself in at practices. Like you'll understand, it's like, wow, I killed like 5 or 6 people with this situation. Or I died 5 or 6 times to this situation. You'll start recognizing things and you can just start training for them on your Pell. So now just start adding movement to each one of those shots. So I'll like step here, but only start as one blow. Practice over and over until you can throw everything really good. Making it all back around again. Once that starts feeling good, why not just add 2 shots? Keep up the movement as long as everything is coming together. If it's not coming together or you're trying to speed up, slow down. The biggest mistake most new players to the society make when they're trying to start Pell training is they just start Pell training far too quickly. Like they do too much speed. You know, they're like, oh yeah. And I'll just kind of, you know, that it looks great. Some of it wasn't any good, especially that off body is all arms. They think they're awesome, they feel they're awesome, they're like, dude, I did it really good, I've been doing this for a couple weeks, and the next thing they know, they go out there and they're just touching people. Instead of just breaking it down nice and slow, working on your technique, that's the biggest thing. Just breaking it down nice and slow. If you can do it slow, you can do it fast. You know, it's learning how to walk before you run. And every time you start doing a really good job, just add another layer. Now it's 2 shots. All right. One of my patented ones that I made. Now when you're out there and you want to start thinking of those 2 shot, possibly 3 shot, I mostly work on 2 shot. But what you want to be able to fundamentally understand is once you can throw and hit all these spots with proper hip mechanics, like you can string shots together. You won't even think about it. You already know how to do it and your arm will be like, okay, so if I throw here, their defense goes down here, which makes this entire quadrant of their body weak. So I do this, and if this part right here, all their defense is over there, I can step over here I'll just clear out from the start and reset. Now let me think of where I want to end up next time. And do it over and over. You can practice so many different situations, especially if you don't worry about the first couple shots. Just understand, if you open up with a snap, their defense is shifted to this side. This spot and this spot is their weakest. If you open up down here, this quadrant is now the weakest. Just think of it that way, how they have to shift their defense according to how you're throwing your shots, which angle they're coming in at. That'd be about my best advice for creating your own kind of little Pell drills and like the theory behind it. Really what you're doing is you're just kind of practicing for situations that you find yourself in out there. And eventually, you start to really recognize some of these situations. I mean, seriously. And you can start to train for them. And once you train for them, it just kind of comes together without thought. It's really neat. It's kind of like that meme I just posted. Because this is my second run on making this video right now, honestly. The first one, I turned the camera off again. I've done that one other time, and it corrupted the whole video. So I had to start all over again. It was bombed. But yeah, whatever shot you start out in, either it's the shoulder, straight up and down, or this, just make sure that you train it and you can actually do all the shots with whichever position you're in at any time. And then I would suggest after you can do that, start working on wraps. I mean, I don't suggest wraps right away for new fighters, but you know, once you get the mechanics down to these things, it's really easy. Because it's just like serving the soup. You just kind of, it's a snap, but a deep snap. It's just you turn your hand over and rotate your hips the other direction. It's like you're right at the end, and you just rotate them back. And you're just dropping all that power from your hips right down into the sword blade. And always, if you're going to be doing wraps, everybody, no matter which direction they come in, all right? Now, like when I practice wraps, usually you see me here. This is my snap backhand range. Generally, it would be I have a deeper hourglass. I have little feet that come off the end of my hourglass over there. And this is where these feet land, and that's for wraps. But no matter how you train, here, this isn't going to do you guys any good to look at my butt. No one wants to see that. But whenever you train wraps, all right, think of it this way, this bullseye, just below that's their heart, all right? So no matter which direction your wrap comes in at, you need to be cutting towards the heart, always. Nothing like this. You're going to calf people on accident. Nothing like that. You're going to have people who are ninjas and they're just going to deflect your blow. They're going to duck it. And you're going to be like that while they crush you. So always cut towards the heart. Very hard to duck stuff like that because you're cutting down into their shoulder, really. If they duck it, it's the neck. This is really good when you're stepping past your opponent. Oh God, floor's really wet. Car was in here earlier. When you're stepping, you're literally bypassing their defense if you include just a slight lean, and you're cutting down and up. And it's kind of like you're cutting towards the heart, another principle. You're cutting at this angle. You're not cutting at this angle, which is like literally the easiest angle in history to block, because their shield is. But you can come sweep right underneath of these edges with a really nice lean and a wrap like that. But you're always cutting towards the heart. I can't stress it enough. Learned that from Kendrick Mara years ago. It helped me because I was really good at wraps, but I was throwing them at the horizontal plane, and I would have people duck me sometimes. So once I started cutting towards the heart, that didn't happen anymore. Let's see. Not sure what else to talk about. I have pilled so much today, guys. I did well over 100 with just the snap again. snap with movement, and then at the end I did the off body. Then I recorded episode 15, and then the camera smoke cracked because of my stupidity. Then I recorded this again. It's the second round. I'm not sure if it's good as the first round. But if you're not into sword and shield, you're into glaive or greatsword, whatever you choose to use as a tool, just make sure it's fun. I mean, honestly, I've pretty much fought with basically everything that you can fight with in the SCA, mostly to learn its strengths and weaknesses. So sometimes it wasn't fun, but in the beginning, definitely pick a style or two that you truly enjoy. You just have fun at, and that'll keep you coming back. It's just the fun of doing it, man. I mean, I'm getting excited, and I took quite a few years off. Now I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. I need to get into shape too, and all that. But yeah, the biggest tips is, man, like I even put little booties off of these before back in the day. But I like to just kind of mark everything. What I need to do is do my new hourglass and put the Pell where it needs to be at all times, and I can see it in the mirror and all that. Because what I was really working on, the snap is starting to feel real good, everybody. Like, it's starting to. I bring the queen out a little bit too soon sometimes, but it just, I can't wait for next practice because it feels good. So earlier I had the Pell over here, and I was just watching the mirror as I was doing it. And the majority of the time I was hitting right on the purple tape, a little bit above and below sometimes, but for the most part it gave me the ability to watch in the mirror. Now my elbow is kind of knowing where it needed to be after over 1,000 blows, so it's kind of encouraging. Just need like 9,000 more. That's all we need. So hope this helped. If you have any questions, man, just let me know. Any kind of drills you want to see or something. But for the most part, how I teach is I kind of like, it's mostly about hip mechanics. There's certain things you do, how you hold your shield. I don't know if I showed you. It's always point up. I think I did. And I kind of showed you the basics of that. But other than that, man, it's just about going out there, picking something you like, having fun. But it's hips first, then sword. Don't be an arm guy. Try your very best not to ingrain any bad habits. And you see me in the videos I've been putting out, and I try so hard to squash them. Just when you do this, you have to have the ability to see how you screw up and then to try to fix it. And the only way you can do that is by doing it slow and doing it the repetition. Then that way, when you're out on the field, while someone's physically trying to kill you, you're not having to think about it. You've just already kind of done that, so you know. It just all works out. And as long as you can throw all these shots consistently with the proper hip mechanics, they'll just kind of come together out there. Those single shots that you practice at these angles and with footwork comes together into 2 and 3 shots and just a clear. And you might have only thought about the 3rd shot. That's all you were caring about. I know I want to kill him with the off body. And then you get there. So hope this helps, man. Let me know anything else you want to see, and I'll try my very best to help. I hope this helped you a little bit. But it's mostly beginning shots is all about learning proper hip mechanics and being able to land these at the end of your hits every time. And once you can do that, then just build off that. Start using movement. Really focus on your shield. Start worrying about that. Where when you're firing, you just kind of bring it in a little bit. A lot of what I'm doing right now, because I'm trying to learn the snap so much, I'm not worrying about this right now. Practice is for me. I don't care about winning and losing. After I get this shot down and it feels great, then I'll start worrying about bringing my corner in just a little bit, keeping it up and bringing it in. So I'm not exposing my off body so much on a hips rotation like you're seeing me right now. Like I'll worry about closing that door a little bit later once the shot comes in better. And if someone kills me at practice because of it, then heck yeah, I need to train that a little bit sooner, so I better put in more time getting that snap down better. But anyways, hope this helped. I'm gonna go ahead and head out, and I'll catch everybody in episode 16. Peace.